Now the only other points of adjustment on the front derailleur that you may need to look at are the high and low gear limit screws, which are located on the top of the derailleur body. Once they are set right, you should never really need to touch them, so if your derailleur has been shifting okay and the chain hasn't been coming off the chain rings, just leave them well alone. If you have been having problems, then the first thing to do is identify which screw does what. Now the low gear limit screw is usually the one closest to the frame, or it's sometimes labelled with an L, and this controls where the derailleur cage stops when changing down to the small chainring. If it's adjusted too far, the chain will come straight off the small chainring like this. So to remedy this, turn the screw a quarter of a turn clockwise. If the chain still comes off, try another quarter turn and repeat this process until the change is secure. If it's not adjusted far enough, this will stop the chain moving easily onto the small chainring, or it might not change at all. So then you need to turn the limit screw anti-clockwise a quarter of a turn at a time until you achieve a smooth and easy change. For adjusting the high gear limit screw, first try changing onto the big chainring. If the chain is pushed right off like this, then turn the limit screw a quarter of a turn clockwise, and then as before, try again until the change is secure. If the chain hesitates changing up or won't change onto the big ring at all, then the limit screw is set too far in. So back it off a quarter of a turn and try again until you get a nice, smooth, secure change. Okay, so now we're on to the nitty-gritty of gear setup, and this is a task that a lot of people tend to shy away from because they perceive it to be some sort of black art. In actual fact, it's very simple, just so long as you're patient and methodical in your approach. So the first thing to do is make sure that the chain is on the big chainring at the front and the small cog at the back. It's also important that all the cable has been let out, so keep clicking the shifter until it won't go anymore. Then click the shifter once to change to the second cog. If all's well, then the chain should change up quickly and smoothly. If it doesn't, or it hesitates and generally makes a racket, then unscrew the cable adjuster barrel anti-clockwise a quarter turn and try again. Repeat this process until it changes up smoothly. If the chain overshoots the second cog completely when you shift, or makes a noise when it's on the second cog, then screw the adjuster barrel in by a quarter turn. Try again and repeat as necessary until you get a nice shift. Now try changing up and down the first few cogs. If one of the changes isn't quite right, then fine-tune the adjuster barrel as before. Then after every fine-tune, try changing up and down to check they all change smoothly. The next thing to do is to shift the chain onto the smallest chainring at the front and the biggest cog at the back. And then repeat the same process, making sure that it changes precisely across the two biggest cogs first, and then over the whole rear cassette, making fine adjustments on the adjuster as necessary.